Okay, you want me to turn the camera over there? Absolutely. Yeah. I'm right by that exit sign. Is that where they're going to be entering, or is it? Okay. And they're going to walk through the middle aisle? Okay. When they start coming in, should I go a little bit left and out so I can get them on the other side of the crowd? I am at... I am trying to set it... there we go, okay. It was not cooperating with me.
President Smith, the faculty and candidates are assembled. These commencement proceedings are now ready to begin. Please remain standing for Emily Karsha, SGA President, as she recites the land and labor acknowledgement, followed by the singing of the national anthem. Lift every voice and sing, and the Vermont State song by the Northern Vermont University Polaris Singers.
We begin this gathering by acknowledging that our shared learning takes place on Nadakana within the Wabanaki Confederacy, which is the unceded traditional homeland of the Abenaki people, past and present. We recognize that colonialism and the oppression of Native peoples is a current and ongoing process, and we commit to building our awareness and working to end this oppression. We honor with gratitude the waterways, the Abenaki, and all who have stewarded and tended to the Danakana throughout the generations past, present, and future. We also acknowledge the erasure and exclusion of Indigenous cultures in this space, physically, culturally, and ideologically. We agree with the Vermont Peace and Justice Center when they honor the legacy of the African diaspora and the Black lives, knowledge, skill, and labor stolen due to violence and the evolution of white supremacy culture. We acknowledge that much of this country's essential structures would not exist if it were not for the free enslaved labor of Black people. And many people of African descent are still being met with violence and killed today for simply existing. We honor the legacy of many other BIPOC ancestors who were victims of the same violent systems that stole their lives, traditions, and families. As the current stewards of this space, it is our collective responsibility to hold these truths and these contributions and losses. Let us use our spheres of influence as educators and learners to rebuild our understanding of history in a way that centers and honors the lived experience of the Abenaki people and the African diaspora, past, present, and future. Let us strive to critically examine our education, teaching, and schools, as well as decolonize our land. Please remove your caps at this time for the singing of our national anthem.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. These green hills and silver waters are our home. They belong to me and to all of her sons and daughters. May they be strong and forever free. Let us live to protect her beauty and look with pride on the golden dome. They say home is where the heart is. These green mountains are my home. These green mountains are my home.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please be seated. My name is Nolan Atkins, Provost at Northern Vermont University, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to Northern Vermont University Johnson's 156th Commencement Ceremony. Welcome to this day of celebration, a day we celebrate a major milestone. It's a great day to be a Badger. I would like, yes, let's give a round of applause for that. I would like to acknowledge the outstanding accomplishments of our music department and the NVU Polaris singers. Please help me in showing our appreciation. Let's give them a round of applause. I would also like to acknowledge the members of the Platform Party, Interim President Mike Smith, Chancellor Sophie Zadatny, Vice President Sarah Truckle, Trustee Bill Lippert, Trustee David Durfee, Chair of the Board of the Trustees Lynn Dickinson, Congresswoman Becca Balint, Interim Academic Dean Les Cannett, Dean of Students Michelle Whitmore, Professor Tyrone Shaw, Professor Dan Towner, and last but not least, the most important person up here, Student Government President Emily Karsha. I would now ask all faculty and staff here with us today to please rise and be recognized. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you for everything that you have done for our graduates. I would now like to ask all veterans in our audience to rise as they are able. These veterans, who are students, family members, faculty, and staff, and who often set aside their own hopes and dreams to protect and defend our country, we offer our sincere and heartfelt gratitude for your service, both in peacetime and during war, here at home as well as abroad. Thank you. It's now my honor to invite President Smith to the lectern to give his welcoming remarks.
Well, welcome all on this really gusty afternoon. Welcome, distinguished faculty, dedicated staff, members of the Board of Trustees, community leaders, legislators, proud parents, families, and most importantly, the exceptional graduating class of Northern Vermont University, Johnson. Today, as president of Northern Vermont University, Johnson, I stand before you to convey my gratitude to the parents and family who have supported our graduating students throughout their journey, and to offer my heartfelt congratulations to you as graduates on your incredible achievement. I also speak a message that I hope extends far beyond this momentous day. Graduates, you stand at the pinnacle of this significant milestone. A pivotal moment emerges when your life transitions from being influenced and shaped by others, your teachers and mentors, for example, to a time when you contemplate how you, in turn, will shape the people and world around you. Throughout your life, you will encounter new mentors and leaders who will guide and inspire you. Today, I ask you to think about the legacy you will forge, a legacy that will reverberate through the lives of future generations. Embrace a purposeful existence, one in which every action is imbued with intention and serves a greater cause. Throughout your journey here at Northern Vermont University, Johnson, I know you have learned and internalized many of the characteristics I'm asking you to embody today. Honesty, hard work, perseverance, loyalty, humility. These characteristics make for great citizens and leaders, and our communities need you and the personal and professional contributions you will make. Our individual legacies are not measured by our names or the titles we hold. Rather, they are rooted in the values and principles we embody and the imprint we leave on the hearts and minds of those we encounter along our journey. It will be the lessons we impart, the virtues that we exemplify, and the positive changes we make that make a difference. First and foremost, let honesty be your guiding light. Be unwavering in your commitment to truth, integrity, and ethical conduct. In a world that sometimes values shortcuts and deception, be a beacon of your word. Demonstrate that true success can only be built upon a foundation of trust and transparency. Hard work, too, will be the core of your legacy. Embrace the value of diligent effort, for it is through hard work that we realize our dreams and make transformative achievements. Embody the spirit of perseverance. Challenges and setbacks will undoubtedly rise, but the relentless pursuit of your goals will set you apart. As leaders, remember the importance of loyalty to those you serve and those who serve under your guidance. Foster an environment of mutual respect, support, and empowerment. Lift others up and create opportunities for their growth and success. True leadership lies not in the pursuit of personal gain, but in the commitment to the well-being and advancement of those around you. Let humility be your compass. True greatness is not found in self-promotion, but in genuine humility and a willingness to learn from others. Embrace diverse perspectives. Listen deeply and foster a culture of inclusiveness and understanding. Remember that we can have the most profound impact when we set aside our egos and respectfully collaborate. Ultimately, graduates, the overarching goal of your legacy should be to make the world a better place for future generations. As you embark on your careers and pursue your passions, never lose sight of the greater good. Look out for those who may be less fortunate. Lend a helping hand and advocate for justice and equality. Use your education and privilege to uplift others and positively change your communities and beyond. As you leave the familiar halls of Northern Vermont University's Johnson campus, remember you're not alone. Lean on your fellow graduates, the faculty and staff who have supported you, the networks you have established, and the community that now expands to all institutions that will become Vermont State University this July. Class of 2023, I have an unwavering faith in your ability to carry forward this legacy, your legacy, and make a lasting impact on the world. Congratulations once again, and may you find fulfillment, purpose, and joy as you embark on the next chapter of your remarkable journey. Thank you, and best wishes to each and every one of you. I would like to now take a moment to remember Mamadou Ndiaye. I didn't know this individual, but boy, this person had an impact on this campus. And so I'd like to invite his family members to join me here on stage. If you would come up, we would appreciate it. There is a chair under the tent in the Fine and Performing Arts graduate seating area with regalia, cords, photos, and flowers in remembrance of this beloved student who deserves recognition for the light that he's shown on our Johnson community. Let us pause for a minute to remember Mamadou with a moment of silence. Mamadou is the first Johnson student awarded a posthumous degree to acknowledge and honor his legacy. One of his friends wrote, "Dew was with the class of 2023 every step of the way. It did not matter if you knew Mamadou for a day, a week, or for many years. Mamadou made you feel like you were friends forever." Students wore Long Live Mamadou fundraiser t-shirts to school events for 2 years now. An LLM was written on the whiteboards in the classrooms and locker rooms. Last year, our community came together to remember him for his unconditional love by opening a Mamadou Ndiaye Resource Center here in Dewey Hall. Professor Bergeron wrote, "Mamadou was in my drawing class. I was saddened to hear of his passing. Mamadou was the sweetest young man. He was a soft-spoken man in class, and he and I often talked about Johnson being a very different place from Maryland. I noticed that he really appreciated the opportunities that NVU Johnson was provided him to continue his education and athletics. I fondly remember he was making a lovely colored pencil drawing in class to send to his younger sister back home in Maryland. Mamadou was always respectful to everyone in his classes. In our department, he was learning and growing in his own way how to juggle the new demands of being a college-level athlete and art student. It is my distinct honor to present the posthumous degree to the family and friends of Mamadou Ndiaye, who is greatly missed by all who knew him. It is now time for the commencement address. I have the distinct privilege of introducing Congresswoman Becca Balint, who will deliver our commencement. You can clap. Congressman Balint has devoted her life to public service, tirelessly advocating for the welfare and prosperity of our citizens. Her unwavering dedication to the values of justice, equality, and progress has made her a trusted representative and an influential voice in our nation's capital. She is the first woman to represent Vermont in Congress, a milestone for our great state. Beyond her legislative achievements, Congresswoman Balint has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to education and the empowerment of our youth. She understands the transformative power of knowledge and the immense potential each graduate possesses to shape the world for the better. Her presence here today is a testament to her belief in the importance of education and her desire to see our graduates succeed in their future endeavors. So let us join together in welcoming Congresswoman Becca Balint to our commencement ceremony. Get that out of your way.
Hello, hello. I'm very, very excited to be here at NVU Johnson. And before I begin, I want to just thank the singers earlier who sang such beautiful harmonies. And it is music often that will get us through in the hard times. So thank you so much for that. Congratulations. You made it. And your families made it too. Whether you're a Vermonter or from the 19 other states representing this class, or even if you're from another country, this event is for you. You may be from one of the most politically conservative states or one of the most politically liberal states. This event is for you. Whether you came from the next town over or from a nation on the other side of the world, you are here today to celebrate with us. We will be joyful together. Traditionally and culturally, we take this time to celebrate graduations, obviously, because it's a really big deal. It took a lot for you to get here. So many hours of studying, so much sacrifice on your part, late nights, early mornings, taking care of family members, maybe balancing work and school. It wasn't easy, and I'm sure there were times when you thought, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Is it going to pay off in the end? Was it worth it? And I'm sure some of your parents thought the exact same thing. So before I say anything else, I want to say it's really important for graduates, whether you're an undergrad or whether you are getting a graduate degree or a certificate, it's so important for you to take a mental note of all of the people that helped to get you today. Who was there helping you pay the bills? Who encouraged you when you considered dropping out? Who was there when you didn't quite know how to edit that essay? Who did all-nighters with you because you didn't want to do it alone? Please take a few quiet minutes right now and think about all of those people. This is not done by one individual. It's done by all of the people who are lifting you up. So I want you to do this because graduation is actually a really magical time. It's really that one time when you are forgiven for being sappy and sentimental, and it's that special liminal space in between things when you get to say things and speak from your heart, and your family's not going to tease you at that time. I mean, it's like practically required. So think about how you're going to thank those people. Is it going to be a note? Is it going to be a text or an email? Or are you going to do that audacious thing of actually talking to someone face to face and thanking those people who stood by you? I want you to do this because they're going to love it, and it's going to make you feel good too. Nobody ever felt bad for being thanked and appreciated. So start with that. And I want you to do this, not just because this is such a special moment, but because we are desperately in need of connection right now. This nation is desperately in need of human connection. We are in the midst of a nationwide crisis of loneliness and mental health. Our U.S. Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, is unveiling right now a new framework for all of us and a strategy for the nation to deal with the loneliness and disconnection that so many Americans are feeling. He believes, as I do too, that it's not so much the political divisions that are killing us. It is the loneliness and the fear and the anger behind the political divisions. I'm not here today as a politician. Yes, I am the first woman ever to represent Vermont in Congress, and I could not be, thank you. I could not be more proud to represent this state. But I'm here today as a parent. I have a almost 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. I'm a former teacher, and I'm a Vermonter who cares deeply about our communities. So as I said, the Surgeon General is deeply concerned about this crisis of loneliness. And it isn't just emotionally uncomfortable to feel these things, it's also taking a real toll on the nation's health. more anxiety, more depression, more heart disease and stroke. Data even indicates that loneliness contributes more to premature death than smoking does. It's a really serious problem for all of us. Now, we have always had policy disagreements. I have been a political junkie my whole life. That is not new. But we did not always demonize each other. We did not always dehumanize each other when we disagreed. We're at a really unhealthy place right now. And it's one of the reasons why I ran for Congress, to do my part to try to change that dynamic. So as I said, the science is clear and compelling. Research has shown that we need connection like humans need food and water. People who feel more connected show lower levels of anxiety and depression, and they feel a greater sense of humility and a willingness to learn. And as the Surgeon General has pointed out, there are incredible, extraordinary costs to each of us to live in disconnection and fear and anger. But there's also the damage it's having on our communities. And Vermont is a state made of communities, small towns and villages. And we got to get back to a place where we can talk to our neighbors again. Which is why I want to start today with you thinking about the simplest kind of connection that you can do, which is thanking your parents and your friends and your spouses and your siblings who helped get you to this day. That kind of connection is pretty easy for most of us. So make a note to yourself right now, who are those people you're going to thank today? Do it today. The political polarization, as I mentioned earlier, has become so toxic, and it's really not about opinion, differences of opinion anymore, okay? It sometimes is about fueling hatred to drive people to the polls or to raise money. And when I was running for Congress last year, I heard the same thing. It didn't matter what town I was in Vermont. I heard the same thing from Vermonters. They would say some version of this: I don't want to hate my neighbors anymore, and I don't want them to hate me. I used to be able to talk to my neighbors across the way, even though I knew we were of different political parties, and now I feel like we can't do that anymore because there's too much hostility and distrust. And they would end with, I'm scared, and that makes me sad and angry, and I don't want to live like this. I'm telling you this because many people feel like they're the only one who's feeling this way. You're not. It's not healthy for any of us. So where do we start? Where do we start to get back to a sense of calm and connection? How do we start to feel better about ourselves so that we can be in connection with other people? For many of us here in Vermont, it starts with quiet and solitude in the natural world. And I was thinking about this powerful wind today that's blowing through this tent. It is nature demanding attention today. It's what brings me hope, even in these toxic times. It's what brings me calm and awe. Now, I'm not a very religious person, but I'm deeply spiritual. And my sense of spirituality resides in the natural world here in Vermont. It's why when I'm home in Vermont, I come home every weekend from DC to see my friends, to see my family, but also to get out into the woods and remind myself of why I do the work that I do. And when I'm in DC, when I am feeling anxious or I find myself getting angry or frustrated, I go outside, and I've been known to take my high heels off and walk on the Capitol lawn just so that I can feel the earth beneath my feet and remind myself the partisanship that happens in Congress is not the only reality. There is a reality that happens in community back here in Vermont. And I want to always be fiercely protecting that. And I suspect many of you feel the same way. Now, only about 17% of Vermonters attend church or synagogue or a mosque regularly, only 17%. But I would argue that is not at all an indication of our sense of spirituality, because most people I know feel an incredible connection to the outside world, whether it is on a hike or sitting hearing the wind or listening to the woodpecker outside your door. It feels good to focus on something other than ourselves. It feels good to turn off the TV. It feels good just to listen deeply. And what we've seen is the research shows it's actually doing you a tremendous good for you to experience a sense of awe on a regular basis. And it can be like looking at the Grand Canyon or going to Yosemite or standing in a river and casting your line and letting the water and the fish swim around you. The awe that you experience literally changes your outlook of the world. It lowers your stress level. It improves your mood and your focus and your self-esteem. Now, I want to tell you something else that really intrigues me about this. We become better people, and research has shown it. We become kinder, more compassionate. We have more humility when we make sure that we experience awe regularly. They can shift our attention. We can incorporate new information about other people. We can shift from being afraid of difference and being more open to learning more about our neighbor, even if we have differing political views. Awe is so powerful, and it's free. You can just get outside and experience the wind on your face and the wildflowers blowing, and you can feel your heart opening up to be more open to your community. Now, I initially moved to Vermont back in 1994 to take a job as a rock climbing trip leader at, Mike Smith and I were just talking about that, at the Farm and Wilderness Foundation in Plymouth, Vermont. The natural world has always been my touchstone, the woods my refuge. So I ask you this today. What can each of you do, graduates, what can each of you do to cultivate a sense of awe inside of you? It is a day of commencement, which means a new beginning. How can you contemplate a new routine, new actions? Take full advantage of that today. I imagine some of you are thinking, I'm just not like that. I'm not that kind of person. I don't do those things. And I want to let you in on a secret. That's just a story that you're telling yourself. And we all have them. We have stories that we tell about ourselves that aren't complete, and they are holding us back. And today on commencement is a great day to start writing a new story. So let me tell you what I mean. I had a story that rode me for a long time. It was this. It was that I had missed my chance of running for office. I knew in high school at 17 that I wanted to be a public servant. I knew it in my core. But I didn't know anyone in politics. My dad was an immigrant. My mom was working class. I had no connections to anyone who had ever served in office. So it seemed like just a ridiculous pipe dream that I would want to do that. So I didn't pursue it. I went into teaching instead, which was in many ways very fulfilling. I taught history for a long time. But I got to my 40s, and a mentor and my spouse said to me, you're good at what you do, but you're not doing the thing you were called to do. And I said, it's too late. The time has passed. And thankfully, they both told me what I'm telling you, that was a story that I was telling myself, and that in fact, I could write a new story. So the first step in writing a new story for yourself is to develop a new frame for your life. So instead of me looking at my life and saying, I missed my chance, I didn't do the thing I was supposed to do, I decided to look at each part of my life and figure out how did that part actually prepare me beautifully to run for office. I was a teacher. I learned how to listen deeply, to think quickly on my feet. I often joke that being a middle school teacher is actually the perfect preparation for being in politics today. So I was all set. And being a parent helped me become more patient and see the big picture. So over time, I realized I actually hadn't missed my opportunity. I was just actually kind of wearing my old story as a comfortable coat because it meant I didn't have to stretch myself and try something new. But once I changed my frame, the new story came. So I want each of the graduates today to think, what are the stories that you're telling about yourself that are holding you back, that are incomplete? We call it commencement for a reason. It's a new beginning. You can leave those stories that aren't serving you here in this tent, and you can walk out of here with a new frame, a new sense of possibility and promise and hope, and carry that certificate or diploma into your new story. Which leads me to another recommendation that I have for you today. I want each of you to discover your home base. We each have one inside of us. You may not even be aware of what it is, but I'm going to tell you mine. Mine is be curious always. Always. When I am frustrated by a colleague at work, I get curious. Why are they having such a bad day? When I am feeling a little bit bored or annoyed at a cocktail party, I change the way I'm approaching my work and I ask better questions of the people around me. I get curious. One question that I use a lot with people I'm meeting for the first time is, what brings you joy? What made you smile today? What makes your face light up? So my home base is get curious, always. But I want to know what yours is. And it could be kind, listen deeply, take action, be patient, make connection, forgive. What is the home base that you're going to carry with you that's going to allow you to get to a better place? I want you all to have tools for the future because not everything is going to go your way. I wish it would. I really do. There are going to be such hard times ahead for all of us. And you need to know what's that home base that's going to get you through the rough patches. I find that it's really, really helpful once you figure that out to hang it up over your desk or in your room by your mirror to remind yourself, on the rough patches, I go to this home base and I'm going to be able to ride it out. The last thing I want to say to you, at this time in this country, we need your curiosity. We need your generosity. We need your humility. We need your courage. And we need the gifts that you alone possess in order to do this critical work, this joyful work together. Together, we have to build community going forward. congratulations, graduates, congratulations. Let's get to work together. There is so much meaningful work ahead of us. Let's go.
Thank you, Congresswoman Balint, for sharing your wise words with us today. We now will hear from 3 of today's graduates who have been chosen by the college community to represent 3 different academic areas of our campus. They are from the graduate program, Andrea Carbine, Master of Arts, Leadership Studies. From the online program, Julia Potter, Bachelor of Arts, Professional Studies. And from the undergrad program, Karina Cummings, a Bachelor of Arts with a minor in anthropology. It seems like she's got a cheering section as well. So why don't we start with Andrea.
Good afternoon, fellow graduates, faculty and staff, family, distinguished guests, and all who are here today to celebrate the accomplishments of so many. Public speaking is a funny thing. In high school, where I was an average student at best, public speaking was one of those things that I was intrigued by. I competed in public speaking in DECA, which many of you may remember, but for those who do not, it was a student-led organization focusing on business and marketing, and I excelled. First in the state my junior year, followed by a majorly disappointing second my senior year. At that time, I welcomed the opportunity to spew my thoughts and get in front of people at any chance available. As the years have passed, my desire to speak in front of a crowd has waned. My nerves have taken a hold in a way that they didn't used to, and I no longer thrive on being in the spotlight. Walking at graduation today was not even something that I was considering, let alone did I imagine myself standing here behind this podium. But after a conversation with a colleague, the thought of showing my 2 boys the culmination of hard work felt important. My next question was, do I invite my parents? I mean, I'm a grown adult, and I questioned if this was something they really needed to add to their calendar. After a brief conversation with my husband, I decided I would mention graduation to them and let them know that they were welcome to join if they would like. Being the supportive parents they have always been, they are here today. At the time I invited them, I had not yet been asked to speak. I received that information from Dr. McGuff one evening later that week while I was reading my email after dinner. My husband makes fun of me because I often move my lips when I'm reading silently. But that night, it was a full-on conversation with myself while I stared at my computer. My husband and children witnessed it all. No, I can't do this, no, oh man. I carried on for a moment until my husband asked emphatically what the commotion was about. I told him what the email said, while my sons Atticus and Rowan listened nearby. It was then the chanting began. Mommy, mommy, mommy. This solidified the importance of my participation in graduation, and I knew it was time to put my big girl pants on and start thinking about what I might say. As I mentioned earlier, school was not always a strong suit of mine. I have always been a doer, but I've also been a wanderer. And sometimes where I wandered and what I did was not always conducive to being successful in a classroom. It seems a bit serendipitous that I stand here before you today, as I earned my undergraduate degree in marketing and communications at Bryant College in Smithfield, Rhode Island, 25 years ago this May. At that time, I was sure that was the end of the road in my formal education. After undergrad, I floundered and worked in a lot of jobs that didn't really interest me until I landed at the Catered Affair, a 5-star catering company south of Boston. It was there I discovered my love of food service. I always enjoyed cooking, and although I was hired as a front-of-the-house manager, I took every opportunity I could to learn more about the kitchen. At that job, I also soaked up for a lot from my manager, who was impeccable at 5-star service. And to this day, she was the best manager that I have ever had. After that, I moved on and managed a restaurant where I also worked in the kitchen at the same time and held an unpaid internship at No. 9 Park, another 5-star female-owned restaurant in Boston. I worked there on my 2 days off for 6 months. I ultimately burned out, but applied that knowledge to my jobs moving forward. Eventually, I found myself managing a coffee shop in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and while I was there, I learned how to roast coffee. It was a lucrative position, although I worked nonstop. I was missing fine food and decided it was time to find my way back to the kitchen. I started by attending a small culinary school while I worked at the coffee shop full-time. During the time I was working at the coffee shop, I met my husband, who was living in New Hampshire, but also from Vermont. We eventually married, and I got pregnant with our oldest son, Atticus, and the thought of going back to the coffee shop was daunting, to say the least. My youngest sister is a teacher, and she shared with me that the North Country Career Center that I had attended and am now employed by was hiring an intro to culinary instructor that they were looking to turn into a full-time hospitality position. My husband had talked about moving back to Vermont, and I was intrigued, but it was 3 weeks before school started. I had an almost 3-month-old. I lived in New Hampshire, and frankly, I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to be back in Vermont. I applied and got the position. It seemed like a way out of crazy restaurant hours and a way to get our family back to Vermont. How I managed to pull that move off while my husband was still working in New Hampshire, trying to figure out how he would get himself here while I began a new career in teaching, is still beyond me. But it happened, and I know there is at least one of my former students sitting in the audience today about to graduate. When you get hired at a career center, they consider you an expert in your field and send you back to school to learn how to become a teacher. I got hired so close to the start of school that my training happened after I had already started teaching. During my first 3 weeks, I remember not realizing that I had to put grades in the system. I knew my students were learning based on their engagement, but it was evident that I had a long way to go. That said, once I got into the groove, I started to do quite well. I was connecting with my students. My newborn was thriving at daycare. We were making plans to buy a house, and occasionally, I even connected with my husband, who was living in New Hampshire during the week. After I finished obtaining my teaching license, I thought it would be wise to start my master's. Boy, was I unprepared for what was to come. And to be clear, that was my first attempt at getting my master's in educational leadership. I remember feeling like a train wreck. I was pregnant with baby number 2. I was a wee bit hormonal, and I felt like a fish out of water in the first 2 and only classes that I took. I remember Dr. McGuff telling me that I wrote like a journalist, and really not understanding what the problem was. I've come so far. Eventually, I gave up getting my master's and focused on my desire to give back to my community and pursue things like Wednesdays on the Waterfront, a music-based community venture that I spearheaded in 2017 with my good friend Veronique Rancourt. It takes place in the city of Newport, Vermont on beautiful Lake Memphremagog for 6 back-to-back Wednesdays starting in early July. It is a free, family-friendly event which boasts a crowd of 800 to 1,000 people a night and provides musical entertainment and enjoyment for residents and visitors alike. In 2019, I began my next adventure, Pine Hill Kitchen, which provided cooking classes to young children and was just branching out to serve a greater population when the dreaded COVID shutdown began. It looked like not only was Pine Hill Kitchen not viable, but neither was Wednesdays on the Waterfront. This left me with lots of spare time, and when my colleague and fellow Leadership Studies graduate, Danielle Warner, mentioned enrolling in a Leadership Studies Master's, my interest was piqued. In my life, I've taken my fair share of risks during my 46 years here on this planet. I continue to do so, but these days, my risks are a bit more deliberate than many of those I've assumed in the past. Delving into the world of education has come with lots of new learning, but enrolling in my master's for the second time was one of the scariest risks that I have recently taken. I was never a great student and have spent a lifetime living that narrative. As I stand here today, my narrative around not being a great student has changed. Truth be told, I have quite enjoyed the latter part of my educational journey, and leadership studies couldn't have been a better match. Throughout my time at NVU, I have experienced immense personal growth and have already begun to apply much of my learning as I continue to assume influential roles in my family, my school, and my community. During my time in the Graduate Studies program, I became a better student, but more importantly, I was able to hone my leadership skills and gain new insight, which has proved valuable in achieving many of my own goals. Leadership studies is ideal for anyone looking to excel in leadership, which we need now more than ever. The interdisciplinary approach, the colleagueship, the ability to have a choice in what books I read and what research and projects I spent time exploring, as well as the overall format and delivery of the learning that I received at NVU has been life-changing. Leadership comes in many forms, but to do it well, it starts with kindness and understanding. In this world of polarizing views and collective trauma, kindness is something that we all can and should offer to one another. When looking back and thinking about some key takeaways that I have acquired along the way, the following 6 things come to mind. 1, trust your crazy ideas. This has become my motto, and I encourage it to become one of yours. You never know what you can make happen until you give it a shot. 2, there is no substitute for hard work and perseverance. If I had given up after the first go of my master's and various other situations that I got myself into over the years, I would not be standing here today. 3, growth happens when you get out of your comfort zone. It's not usually enjoyable, but it's always necessary. 4, live a life of meaning and purpose. What are your values and beliefs? Spend some time figuring this out so you can be true to yourself. Listen more than you speak. Stop caring about other people's opinions. They are none of your business. If you have taken the time to define your own beliefs and values, life begins to have meaning. This happens when you take time to reflect. Through this process, you will begin to gain self-awareness. 5, you are never too old to learn new things. Whether it is formal or informal education, it is important to develop a thirst for knowledge, and like the title of Adam Grant's last book, it is important to think again. Reserve the right to change your opinion after you have learned more on a subject. Learning is what leads to change. And finally, 6, be kind. This is a motto that I live by, and one that is probably the most important thing we can instill in our youth. At our house, we tell our kids, we don't care if you're the smartest, the best athlete, the best artist, etc., but if you're not kind, there will be problems when you get home. Where we go from here is unknown, but commencement is a fresh start, and what better time than now to become a leader in your own life. Thank you.
Julie Potter.
All right, thank you very much. I just want to say congrats to everybody. Here we are. Thank you, Congresswoman Balint. Shout out to Brattleboro. There we go, Brattleboro. And thank you to other faculty, university staff, family, and friends who have gotten those of us graduating to this place in time and space. We certainly couldn't have done it without you. I'm Julie Potter, as was announced, and I have to say, as an online student, this is the first time I've been on campus. I spent a little bit of time wandering around, finally figured out where I was going, got people situated, and then met up with people that I had actually taken classes with, and that was really great. So just thanks everybody for for welcoming us, and it's really great to be here and be part of this community in a more physical sense. I stand here at the end of a 34-year journey. I began my college career as a snappy 18-year-old heading off to the University of Vermont in 1987, where I attended 3 semesters. I left UVM after 3 semesters to head home and tend to some personal business, and a semester later took 1 class at my local community college of Vermont, mostly to uphold my promise to myself that I wasn't quitting school. Could my 20-year-old self with the 80s hair and cassette tapes in her Pontiac Le Mans station wagon, which was brown, ever have imagined this outcome? Unlikely. A lot has happened in these 34 years. Life happened. Successes, challenges, celebrations, and growth. Lots of growth. I married, divorced, married again. I had children and experienced, and continue to experience, the joys and trials of parenthood. I had several careers, from bookkeeping for a landscaping company to managing a parade, working in the international dairy industry, and writing a syndicated food column. I bought a house, owned cars, got a credit score. Everywhere I went and everything I did was an opportunity to learn and engage with new groups of people who were experiencing the same things I was at that time. And I found these communities helpful and supportive. I was happy to take on the commitments and responsibilities that came along with this full life that I was living. Even the really, really hard parts have resulted in things I am now so grateful for. It was while I was helping a struggling family member navigate the mental health system that my passion was sparked. I became acutely aware of the challenges that children and families face in such situations. As I advocated for my family, I became an advocate for others. Eventually, I was fortunate enough to find a position using my lived and professional experience to support children and families in community mental health for the NFI Hospital Diversion Program, a short-term inpatient home for adolescents experiencing a mental health crisis. I loved the work, and I really dug into it, giving back to other Vermonters in need. Work was fulfilling. I didn't need to change a thing. But all this time, I was still growing. And with growth comes change. In 2019, I tested the academic waters again by enrolling in CCV's assessment of prior learning, which showed that, well, I had learned a lot over the years. And while there was no professional requirement for me to continue to complete my degree, there was a personal one. So I enrolled at NVU. I did this for myself, but certainly not by myself. My family was there, picking up the slack, walking the dog way more than their fair share, eating random things for dinner at weird times, doing all the errands, and cheering me on all the while. And there were so many other people encouraging and supporting me. You probably heard, it takes a village to raise a child. From personal experience, I can attest that this is absolutely true. In my case, it took a village to raise a college graduate Julie, and it took more than just one. It took multiple communities to get me here. Family, friends, looking at you, women who Wainscott, co-workers, supervisors, employers, they all hung in there with me and supported me throughout. I am not a quiet person. I can, in fact, be quite annoying. There was whining, complaining, procrastinating, Oh my word, did I procrastinate. But my people were always there listening to me, cheering me on, and nudging me to the finish. This degree I have earned is the culmination of a life lived so far. And I recently was made the Assistant Program Director of the Hospital Diversion Program, something I couldn't have imagined when I first started working in mental health. I have grown professionally and personally. I have gained not only knowledge, but self-knowledge. I made connections with other people and myself, but not without the help of all my various communities. Those of us sitting here, as well as those of us who are not, have worked hard to be a part of the NVU graduating class of 2023. Considering ourselves as students alone, we are at least 3 communities: the NVU class of 2023, the online community, and the campus community. And this just scratches the surface. Think of all the activities, sports, internships, jobs, classes, friend groups, and more who are all sitting here. And while our scholastic experience in supporting communities may look different, that matters little. Without a doubt, I have learned that the most important asset in both my professional and personal life are the connections that I have made within my communities. From knowing a guy who could get hospital diversion toilet paper in the beginning of the pandemic, to being able to direct families to supports they really need, these connections have been invaluable in getting answers to questions, finding resources, brainstorming ideas, receiving support. Not only is this a reciprocal process, but as the people and information flow within and between my communities, they connect and strengthen, and in the process, I do too. As we move from undergrads to graduates, I encourage us all to foster our connections within all our communities. We will find those relationships to be invaluable in our personal and professional development. And as we've heard here today, I think it's really important for where we are as a general community in our nation. Take a risk and ask a knowledgeable person you have connected with in your personal community for advice in your professional community, and vice versa. Tackle your biggest problems and celebrate your wildest succession using resources that you have built within your communities. Be creative, be curious, and particularly be curious of those communities that you are not yet a part of. You never know who you might meet, what you may learn, and how you might collaborate. Yep, it's been a journey. First UVM, then CCV, and now NVU. I'm not sure my 53-year-old self has really been able to take this milestone in yet. But should she decide to pursue some new idea, be it a potentially crazy, harebrained scheme or a brilliant, world-changing solution, she knows that all her people in all her communities have got her back, and yours do too. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from Karina Mae Cummings.
Good afternoon, President Mike Smith, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, loved ones, and most importantly, the class of 2023. It is my distinct honor that I am getting to speak to you all today. I would very much like to thank Ms. Shell Whitmore and the Commencement Committee for this opportunity. Congratulations, graduates! We have reached this profound goal of graduating college, a goal reached that I hope brings you all great pride. You truly deserve it. Thank you to everyone who is not graduating today for coming to support and celebrate us on this most momentous of occasions, and for being the support system of my peers standing with me today. College is hard. Having someone to be your comfort when things are overwhelming, or you forgot to submit something, or you didn't get the grade that you were hoping for, is something that is valued beyond what you all may know. Part of why I wanted to be up here talking today was to tell you all how much I truly loved NVU Johnson, and how grateful I am for my education and for this community for providing me the environment to grow into who I am today. From the moment I began here at NVU, I felt that it was exactly where I was supposed to be. I think this is because of the closeness and generosity of the people that work and learn here. I'm sure my peers can relate to the feeling of being different than they were when they began here at NVU Johnson. I certainly am, and I feel as though I grew positively because of the accepting, understanding, and welcoming atmosphere that provokes the comfortability and confidence to ask questions, participate in class, or ask for help if you need it. Every single professor I have encountered here has had the goal of their students succeeding while also being understanding of life's circumstances. The knowledge and commitment of the professors is unrelenting. My minor in anthropology and sociology stemmed from just taking so many of Janet Benion's courses that I only needed a couple more to qualify. And this was an easy choice, as Professor Benion's courses were always my favorite, even though they were the toughest. The beauty of this campus alone fosters such creativity and brightness and open-mindedness. Even a rainy day on this campus could put me in a better mood just by looking out at the beauty of Vermont and what it means to be here, furthering my education in pursuit of fulfillment. The NVU community is incredibly rich with musical and artistic talent. The people on this campus never cease to amaze me and impact me with their intellect and versatility. The people of this subset have personally touched me with their kindness and willingness to teach those around them and share their wonderful, wonderful talents. Being a part of NVU ensembles has personally brought me a great deal of happiness and enrichment. As one can imagine, performing can be nerve-wracking, even if you aren't the star of the show. But with this community, with these people, it isn't. There was never a feeling of judgment or appraisal, only the feeling of development, growth, and collaboration. I am so, so thankful for the hard work in supplying this campus with whimsy, entertainment, and art. Also, this wonderful community has the NVU ensembles open to all community members, which is all of you here today. And so I highly recommend partaking in this incredible opportunity. I cannot promote it enough. I want to take a moment and give a personal shout out to my whole family for being here. Especially, oh, thank you. Especially my dad, who always knows how to get me to look on the bright side, and my mom, who is always the perfect consoling shoulder to cry on, and my sister. My sister is my grounding force and role model. Who she is as a person and a student inspires me every single day. There are no three people in the world I would rather be with more than them, and of course my cats. Thank you so much for being the best example possible I could have growing up. I love you so much. Thank you. And now, so I'll stop crying, I'll move on. The connections that we have all made here will stick with us forever. We have all had an impact on each other, and I, for one, am so, so glad that you were all the ones impacting me all these years. For the conclusion, I wanted to come up with something to keep you all thinking, something profound as my final statement as an NVU student. But honestly, the only thing I could come up with was gratitude. Thank you all so much, class of 2023, for making these 4 years so wonderful. Your communities will certainly be benefiting from your future contributions. Congratulations, and thank you.
We're getting to the section I think everyone is here for today, which is the presentation of candidates and conferring of degrees. We are now at the point of our proceedings where we confer degrees, so let's get started.
Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts, Master of Science, or Master of Fine Arts please rise? President Smith, I have the pleasure of presenting these candidates for the degree of Master of Arts, Master of Science, or Master of Fine Arts.
Thank you, Professor Shaw. Through the authority of the Board of Trustees of the Vermont State College, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Arts, Master of Science, or Master of Fine Arts as appropriate in each case, with all the rights, privileges, and honors, as well as the responsibilities and obligations pertaining thereto.
Will the master's graduates please come forward? Erin Marie Alico. Krista Jeanette Bologna. Devin Marie Buffard. Ben Boyarko. Thank you. Yeah. And Ariel Cohn. Dottie Dearborn. Alex Drown. Sherry DeGray. Callie Flanders. Nakara Foss. Maya Struthers Friedman. Ryan Govin. Lindsay Haley. Alice Glee Haskin. Janessa S. Higgs. Ashley Hoyt. Kelby LaRose. Sarah Jane Jacobson. Jerica Lane Manny. Caitlin McKeenan. Curling. Andrea Janice Moore. Mari Nazaro. Charles O'Brien. Peter O'Leary. Jennifer Overton. Sierra Pembroke. Morgan Sanderson. Anissa Potvin. Wiley Shipman. Hannah E. Sprague. Lisa Torciano. Dana Williams. Siobhan Caitlin Anderson Jutkins. Caitlin Grape. Amy Marie English. Catherine Oliver. Dakota Roberge. Morgan Sargent. Shane L. Stacy. Tammy Lynn Therian Carter. Andrea Carbine. Kyla Jane McClanahan. James Nichols. Gerald R. Patterson III. Danielle Warner. Will the candidates for the bachelor's and associate's degree please rise? President Smith, I have the great pleasure of presenting these candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Associate of Arts, and Associate of Science.
Thank you, Professor Shaw. Through the authority of the Board of Trustees of the Vermont State Colleges, I confer upon you the degree of the Bachelor of Arts, or the Bachelor of Science, or the Bachelor of Fine Arts, Associate of Arts, or Associate of Science, as appropriate in each case, with all the rights, privileges, and honors, as well as the responsibility and obligations pertaining thereto.
Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Associate of Arts, or Associate of Science please be seated? Will the graduates within the Business, Accounting, and Economics Department please stand and come forward? Allison Brink. Natalie Chauvin. Arthur Clayton. Emma Drake. Jessica Lynn Dykema. Margaret Robert Egan. Timothy Gray. Benjamin Kelly. Brianne King, magna cum laude. Mason Lors. Dominic Phelps. Megan LeMay Rubley. Sharon Sedev. Naomi Severance. Demir Smajovich. Chanel Spalding, magna cum laude. Malik View. Will the candidates for bachelors in culture, humanities, and politics please come forward? President Smith, I have the great pleasure of presenting these candidates for degrees of Bachelor of Arts. Jasade Allen. Emily Corbett. Pamela Doyle. Alexander Gallagher, magna cum laude. Avery Gaudin. Allison Britt Hefner. Kayla Irick. Jameson Lynch. Angus McEwing. Mindy McLaren. Austin White, cum laude. What's next? Will the candidates for Bachelor of Arts in Education please come forward? James Brady. Allison Suzanne Hurlbut. Marie Jackson, summa cum laude. Matthew Joseph McCarthy, summa cum laude. Paige S. Pierce, summa cum laude. Caitlin Paige Shepard. Darren Thompson. Will the candidates for a bachelor's degree in environmental and health sciences please come forward? Mitchell Amon. Lauren Berg, magna cum laude. Brittany Cook. Emily Crippen. Tarquin Crotto Jr. Casey Lee Fortier. Matt Howes. Casey Miller. Ducky Jocelyn. Katie Lucier, magna cum laude. Caitlin Corrine O'Neill, magna cum laude. Lily Ann Mullen, magna cum laude. Rachel Peatman. Leslie Rodriguez. Lucas Shims. Schmitz. Samuel Stevens. Will the candidates for Fine and Performing Arts bachelor's degree please come forward? President Smith, I have the great pleasure of presenting these candidates for degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Fine and Performing Arts. Stephanie Allen. Alex Astezano. Kiana Daig. Sparrow McDonald, magna cum laude. Brittany Malik. Asa Mears. Alexis Middleton Malchuk, magna cum laude. James Jeremiah Moore, summa cum laude. Jennifer Robinson. Diana Santo. Kay Shaw. James Stowell. Dylan Michael Young, cum laude. Will the candidates for bachelor's degree in interdepartmental studies please come forward? President Smith, I have the great pleasure of presenting these candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Art in Interdepartmental Studies. Jessica Bortz. Abby Dooley. Mandy L. Dwinell. Stacy Ann Elliott. Dennis Kaduru. Sonia Lee Cavella. Hannah Lamore. Kimberly K. Lang. Brian James O'Rourke. Stephanie LeBeau. Marley Lynn Rosario. Julie Potter. Noelani June Rupp. John Shraven. Betsy Trucott. Deirdre Walsh, cum laude.
Good one.
Will the candidates for bachelor's degree in mathematics please rise and come forward? President Smith, it is my great pleasure to present these candidates for bachelor's degree. Hannah Grace Angelano. Anthony Barberi. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Arts degree in Psychology and Human Services please rise and come forward? President Smith, I have the pleasure of presenting these candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Human Services. Christina Marilita Masayo Beetham. Cora Marie Bordeaux. Jess Carr. Tiana K. Cheney, cum laude. Makanaka Chicana. Shaylin Tiffany Clifford. Isaiah Klein. Sage Willow Conrad. Karina May Cummings, magna cum laude. Abigail Desarlais. magna cum laude. Alana Jane Freeman. Yes. Elena J. Freeman. Joey Hall, magna cum laude. Scott Kilpatrick. Ashley Ady, magna cum laude. Isabella Massey, cum laude. Gabriella Newberger. Christine Ray Switzer, magna cum laude.
And Detroit. Gabriella Simmons and Detroit.
Gabriella Simmons and Detroit. It takes two. Allison Westcott.
Aika Yamamoto.
Aika Yamamoto. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Arts degree in Writing and Literature please rise and come forward? President Smith, I have the great pleasure of presenting this candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Writing and Literature. Andrew Westfall, Andrew F. Westfall, cum laude. Will the candidate for Certificate of Higher Education please rise? President Smith, I have the pleasure of presenting this candidate for this Certificate of Higher Education.
Thank you. Through our partnership with the College Steps program, I am pleased to confer upon this non-degree student the Certificate of Higher Education. Their work over the past 2 years has not only benefited their own development, it has helped to further our mission of diversity and inclusion.
Will the candidate for the Certificate of Higher Education please come forward now? Ian Paul Carpenter.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, will the graduates please stand? We will now proceed with the ceremonial moving of the tassels. Graduates, please move your tassels from the right to the left of your mortarboard. It is my pleasure to present Northern Vermont University Johnson graduating class of 2023. Join me in applauding the achievements of our new graduates. I now invite those who are able to stand to join us in the singing of our alma mater. It is my pleasure to invite the NVU Polaris singers back to the stage to lead us in the singing of Northern Vermont University's alma mater.
Faculty and graduates recess. Thank you again, Congresswoman Balint, and congratulations to our graduates, and thank you to the families for attending this commencement celebration, and join us on the quad at Dewey Commons for a dessert reception honoring our graduates. These commencement proceedings are now concluded.